Great. Yay. All right. Hey, everyone. This is Maiko from Nexus Motion. I am trying to do the first YouTube live streaming. All right. Hey, everyone. Well, I guess there's a little bit of echo as I'm doing this on Zoom and live streaming on YouTube. How's everyone doing? Can you tell this is my first attempt? So about a few days ago, I posted on the social media on Learn Movement System, which is part of Nexus Motion. I run a continuing education company organizing the movement system impairment syndromes courses held at Washington University. This is something new since last year. But on the Learn Movement System social media, I shared a YouTube video that I created from almost 3 years ago, and it was talking about this concept about path of least resistance. And yeah, it's a really, really important thing to understand when you look at someone's movement pattern and what's going on with their musculoskeletal pain problems. But my dear friends have made some great comments on that post on Facebook. Carrie Hall from Seattle said, with that one foundational principle, so much can be figured out. So thanks, Carrie, for that comment. And to follow up on that comment, Professor Cara Lewis from Boston University had said, and I want to find out is why does it become the path of least resistance? With a smiley face. So obviously, Professor Cara Lewis knows the answer to her own question. But I thought I would take this chance to do a short YouTube live streaming to do my best to answer it as briefly as I can. And also for me to try to practice going live streaming. I'm actually in the Zoom meeting room, as well as this YouTube live. Some of you might know later on this evening, I am going live streaming with Dr. Shirley Sarman, one of my mentors from PT school. She and I will be having a fun little conversation about the current state of continuing education course and what people get to learn from the Learn Movement System courses this year. And that's happening today, May 18th, Thursday, May 18th at 7 p.m. Central Time, or if you guys are in the Pacific Time, it would be 5 p.m. here. So yeah, just wanted to do like a little dry run. In fact, before I started streaming this round, there was a little bit of an issue, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I'm practicing now so that I don't fumble as much when my guest of honor is here. So anyway, so to attempt to answer Kara's question about, well, the body does take path of least resistance, but why? And I'm going to try to boil it down to this idea about the relative flexibility of different joints in our body, the relative stiffness of muscles and other soft tissues, and then people's learned muscle activation pattern. Whether that's correct or incorrect, that varies from person to person. So those are the big things that influence why people move the way they do. Our body's pretty lazy, so just do the least amount of energy that it takes to get the job done. That is, hashtag path of least resistance in a nutshell. But when we talk about relative flexibility of joints for someone who's doing a trunk forward bending motion, if the interjoint relative flexibility is different between hips and lumbar spine, So like I'm picturing someone who's got a heavy weight and they're trying to do a deadlift. If they have the tendency to arch their back or extend the lumbar spine as they lift that heavy weight up, all right, the relative flexibility is greater in the lumbar spine compared to the hips extending. It could also have an issue of relative stiffness problem as the person is trying to do a deadlift. If the hip flexor muscles are relatively stiffer compared to the abdominal muscles, and that would be easily depicted with the handy-dandy TheraBands that most of us have access to in the clinic. This is a great way for clinicians to explain to the patients visually why the thinner band would move so much easier. It's a great way to show not just path of least resistance, but mostly this relative stiffness concept. And then, of course, if people have been trained to overuse their back muscles to kick in so much more than the gluteus maximus at the end range or hip extensors, they're going to have this not so ideal muscle activation pattern of too much lumbar extensors kicking in. And so they're going to start with low back arching in the very early phase of that deadlift. So that's how we can try to explain path of least resistance. I hope that does justice. Cara, what do you think? Carrie, I hope that's all good. We'll see if I'll share this with Shirley. Hopefully she'll approve. But, when we think about our patients' movement in not just in their workout routines, but in their everyday activity movements, as someone who specializes in the human movement system, we should be able to help explain why people do the movement a specific way, and then hopefully have enough knowledge to actually change that movement to a more ideal pattern so that we're reducing the physical stress placed upon the various tissues, whether that's joints or ligaments or a meniscus or whatever tissues that are injured. Our job is to optimize movements so that people can go on with their day-to-day life. So that's my attempt in answering the idea about the path of least resistance, how body tends to take that. And if you guys come on to the Learn Movement System website, you can learn more about the June introductory lumbar spine movement system impairment syndromes course. Right now, the early bird price is still going through this weekend. So please go check it out. And you guys can also help check out some of the other YouTube videos that I've posted about the MSI key principles. These are from a long time ago, but I think they're still pretty relevant. So thank you so much for viewing my very first attempt to go YouTube live streaming. Just wanted to rehearse and prep before today's big event, May 18th, 7 p.m. Central Time. I hope you guys can join us. Please hit subscribe to the Nexus Motion YouTube channel. I appreciate it, and we'll see you sometime on